A microbit is a very handy device to consider to use for the design of our projects because of its wide range of ability to do stuff. If we take, for example, how many different ways can one microbit activate an LED? It can either activate it by shake, or we could set a certain threshold of noise, and if this threshold is reached, an LED could be activated. It could be activated by button A, or by button B, or by button A and B pushed together, or we could tilt to left or right, or even forwards and backwards to activate an LED. So here we can actually see that Microbit has such a wide range of ways to do one of its abilities, such as turning on an LED. And that's why Microbit is a very great device to consider while designing our projects, because it has so much to offer. And then if we flip our Microbit behind, we see here we have our reset button to reset the code in our Microbit. And we essentially just put the code on our Microbit by downloading the code from our computer onto the Microbit from the software.
I said there's a lot of different ways and where we can use a microbit just to even do one thing, but I think the easiest way to turn on and off an LED is by the use of our buttons A and B, so we can change these here to A and B. And now we have to go to our pins, because these are what we use for our LEDs. So then when button A is pressed, we want to set our digital right pin 0, so our LED will be hooked up to pin 0, and we want to set it to high. So this means that when button A is pressed, our digital right pin 0 will be activated and our LED will turn on. And then we can just copy and paste this then and put it over here, and we can switch 1 to 0, also known as switching high to low. So then when button B is pressed, our digital right pin 0 will be set to low. In other words, our LED will be turned off. So here we can see that when button A is pressed, digital right pin 0 is activated, turning on our LED. And then when button B is pressed, digital right pin 0 is deactivated, turning off our LED. And I think this is the simplest way to use the microbit to turn on and off an LED. So the next thing I want to show you is basically how can we use our microbit to cause an LED to flash. So from previously we know that when our pin is set to high, our LED is activated and on, and when our pin is set to low, it is off. So then essentially what we can do here is that forever our digital right pin 0 is set to high and it's active, and then our LED turns on, and then we can put a pause in here after straight away, and then we can set our digital right pin 0 to low so it's off, and then we can put another pause. So then forever essentially what happens is our right pin is set to high, and then there's a pause and it's set to low so it's off, and then this pause incorporates a kind of on off on off on off into our LED, so essentially it's flashing then, and this is how then we can incorporate a flashing LED with the use of our microbit.
Now, since we know how to actually code our microbit, we can transfer our code and download it onto our microbit from our computer. And then essentially we need to wire up our LED. So we know that we are using pin 0, so we put our wire to pin 0, we clip it on there, and then we set this wire from pin 0 to the positive leg or the longer leg of our LED. And then from the negative leg, or the shorter leg of our LED, we clip that back to ground. And then here we can see that our LED is flashing. So essentially what we do is we basically go from pin 0 to our positive LED leg, from our negative LED then back to ground.